Oh, we got another big trade in the NFL with the draft just 3 weeks away. The Jets trading Sam Darnold to the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, Darnold had the worst passer rating in the NFL last season at under 73. It was 72.7 passer rating. The Jets have the #2 overall pick. Zach Wilson has been the pick in most of Ryan Wilson's latest mock drafts. Now, in return, the Jets are getting a 6th-round pick this season, and then in next year's draft, they get a 2nd and a 4th. So for Sam Darnold, a former first-round pick, a top 10 pick, the Jets only get back a 2nd, a 4th, and a 6th. And the Panthers, they have the #8 overall pick coming up, so might they be looking at a quarterback there as well? I've got a lot of questions. Hopefully these guys have some answers. Bryant McFadden and Danny Kanell joining us. Danny, you're the quarterback. This is a big-time quarterback move here. We know the Panthers were not happy with Teddy Bridgewater. They go out and take a flyer on Sam Darnold. What do you think?
I think it makes sense from all parties involved, Chris. I mean, when you look at it from the Carolina Panthers, they're getting a quarterback who was a top 5 quarterback for really, really cheap. I mean, these are, this is, bargain basement type prices. When you look at the draft picks they had to give up for Sam Darnold. So essentially they get a free look at him to see if he can work out for a year. You look at the Jets, this clearly indicates to us they're going in the direction of Zach Wilson, which is what everybody thought anyway. They didn't want to get stuck with him after the draft. And then for Sam Darnold, I think it's a fresh start for Sam Darnold too. So it gives him an opportunity to get out of New York where he had been written off, where they wanted to go in a different direction. And he gets to go pair with Joe Brady, who was the offensive mind that came out of LSU with Joe Burrow. He gets some incredible weapons to work with, and hopefully a healthy Christian McCaffrey, a young DJ Moore. Like, he's got some weapons to work with, so now he's gonna have a tremendous opportunity. I think it makes sense for everybody, but I have serious doubts about Sam Darnold's ability to be an NFL franchise starting quarterback consistently. Like, yeah, we can say all we want. We'll give him a new, fresh look, give him opportunities, rave about it being with Joe Brady. But remember when we said, oh, Adam Gase, quarterback guru, offensive guide, wait till he gets with Sam Darnold. It didn't work out well. I just feel like we already know what we're gonna get with Sam Darnold. He has some massive work to do on his game.
Yeah, I agree with you, Danny. I think it makes sense. Clearly, it makes more sense for Carolina because many people felt like they would take a shot on a quarterback in the first round with their 8th overall selection. Now they have their quarterback already in place. So now when you look at the draft, it's safe to say the top 4 teams in the draft will select a quarterback. So there will be quality players available for the Carolina Panthers to add to their offense or defense, deciding on which way they would like to go. But when you look at Sam Darnold, I think the jury is still out on Sam Darnold because one thing I can say about Sam Darnold, looking at the coaching staff that he had there, the structure or the lack thereof, they didn't have sound structure for him to be able to develop. We saw Adam Gase do a bad job with Ryan Tannehill when he was there in Miami. Ryan Tannehill goes to Tennessee, pairs up with Arthur Smith, and we saw a different player. So because of that production that we saw with Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee under a different coaching regime, I'm still optimistic about Sam Darnold. He's still extremely young, and like I said, he did not have any sound structure there in the Jets organization while he was a starting quarterback there. So maybe a change of scenery would be wonderful for him going forward. And like I said, it makes sense for Carolina because if they decided to take a quarterback in this year's draft, it's safe to say the talent level will probably be on the same level as Sam Darnold. And I think understanding and being able to get Sam Darnold and still add a nice piece with a top 8 selection is a wonderful place to be for Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina has the #8 pick in the draft, and in our latest mock draft from Ryan Wilson, he had them taking Trey Lance, #8, the 5th quarterback he had going in the top 8. We just heard from BMAC saying that he thinks this means that Carolina believes that Sam Darnold is going to be their guy because they gave up this allotment, the 2nd, this 4th, this 6th for him. Danny, does this tell you for certain that they're not going to take a quarterback #8?
Yes, I mean, you make this move to try to find your franchise quarterback, and then it allows you to go out and get another need with the 8th overall pick, because as kind of BMAC was saying, If you felt like you were in the market for a quarterback and you were picking at 8, you weren't going to get one of the top 4 guys. You would have had to give up a ton of draft capital to move up to get one of them, to get in front of one of those teams. So I think this clearly indicates that Carolina is sold on Sam Darnold. They want to put the pieces around him to succeed. They've got the play caller for him. They've got a young team to build around. And Teddy Bridgewater, if they decide to keep him, which I think they will, is a pretty good sounding board for Sam Darnold to work with. So again, I think it makes sense from a lot of places, but I need to see Sam Darnold. You wonder how much damage has been done to his psyche, to his habits, because he's incredibly talented. He has this ability to improvise, to make all the throws. I mean, we saw his throw just like Zach Wilson did, ironically, at his pro day, where he's rolling to the left and then flips it back across to the right. Those are great. We've seen flashes of brilliance from Sam Darnold, but like a lot of young quarterbacks, you've got to learn how to play consistently well and to make consistently good decisions from the pocket, which is something he's been struggling with. Now, all of that being said, he's been blasted behind an offensive line. He has an organization which has been struggled mightily to get things righted. He's had turnover at head coach, so he's been dealt a really bad hand. So he's going to get that fresh start. I just wonder how much damage has been done to Sam Darnold, his confidence, his psyche, and to his habits as a quarterback.
Yeah, I don't expect to see Teddy Bridgewater with the Carolina Panthers this upcoming season, I think. And the reason why I say that, guys, is because his salary. That's a hefty salary to be paying to a backup quarterback. So I think they will probably try to move Teddy Bridgewater to get a late rounder in return for his services. So they're basically telling Sam Darnold, we're giving you the keys to the car right now. You have 1 year to really prove to the organization that you can be a potential franchise quarterback. And if it doesn't work out, they've only lost a 2nd-round pick. And I think that's where this deal makes more sense for Carolina, because they gave up only a 2nd-round pick in 2022 to a young, potentially good quarterback. Like you mentioned, Danny, he was a top 5 selected player a few years ago because he has talent. We just have yet to see that talent develop and become a consistent, productive player in the National Football League. So this is a prove me year for Sam Darnold. I think he understands and he realizes that. And if it doesn't work out as well as many expect there in Carolina, hey, you only gave up a 2nd round.
All right, Bryant McFadden and Danny Kanell on the big trade this afternoon in the NFL. It's the Carolina Panthers going out and getting Sam Darnold for a 2nd, 4th, and 6th round pick. That 6th round pick this season. The 2nd and 4th round picks are for next year's draft. You can hear BMAC along with Patrick Peterson on the All Things Covered podcast, the latest episode, delving into some hidden gems that we'll be hearing about in the NFL draft this season.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.